Hi, my name's Paul and this is Casey, and we're from the Wales Cooperative Centre and the Communities Creating Homes team. Communities Creating Homes is a project that has been funded by the Nationwide Foundation and Welsh Government, and we are here from the Wales Cooperative Centre, but we've also got partners in the Development Trust for Wales. So what is Communities Creating Homes? Sorry, we're going a little bit too far forward there. We've got a vision. Our vision is to create a thriving cooperative and community-led housing movement in Wales. We want to grow the supply of affordable, good quality housing to meet local need where communities can grow and prosper. But first of all, Casey's going to go through with you what community-led housing is. Okay?
Thanks, Paul. So like Paul said, I'm going to talk to you about what community-led housing is, because it could be quite a new concept for many of you. But really, in essence, community-led housing is about local people taking a leading and lasting role in creating secure, affordable homes and strengthening their communities. So that could be building new homes, it could be refurbishing empty properties, or it could be managing and safeguarding existing homes as well. But really, there are four key principles that we like to talk about when we talk about community-led housing, and I've highlighted some of those keywords there in that definition. So first of all, it's about local people taking a leading role in the project, in the development of the homes. So they don't necessarily have to lead on it, but they have to be integrally involved. Second of all, they have to have a lasting role in the management or the ownership of those homes, or the stewardship of those homes. Thirdly, they need to be affordable. And fourthly, then, the benefits of those homes have to benefit a defined community, whether that's geographical or another community that we're talking about. So like I said, there are many different ways of developing community-led housing, and I'm going to talk to you about some of those options now. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Groups of friends could come together to buy a house to share. A group of leaseholders could come together and actually jointly manage their homes instead of a landlord doing it on their behalf. Community members could come together, actually buy a piece of land and develop some new homes. It could be about people developing new sustainable eco-communities, and it could be about people actually building their own homes, so self-built, not in the sort of sense of grand designs, but actually coming together and collectively building their homes. So today I'm mainly going to concentrate on 5 different models of community-led housing. And just to reiterate that these aren't legal forms of organisation, so they're really approaches to delivering community-led housing. So not all of these are necessarily a legal structure in themselves. So this is more of an introduction to the different models of community-led housing. So I'm just going to kick off with housing cooperatives to start. So hopefully this should be quite a familiar model to many of you. So housing co-ops work in a similar way to the retail co-ops that are out there. So they're not-for-profit democratic organisations that benefit a defined group of people, so they're members. Usually housing cooperatives will be what's known as a fully mutual co-op. So that's where all members of the cooperative organisation are actually tenants of the property or the homes as well. So it's a collective ownership of property approach. So the co-op organisation would buy a property, and you wouldn't necessarily own your home individually. It's more about collective ownership. So for example, the cooperative would get a mortgage and the members would then pay rent to the cooperative. If the co-op can't afford to do that, then there is an option to actually lease a property from a landlord if they can't afford to buy it themselves. But it's a great way of really getting democratic control over your home. So you as tenants are in complete control of what happens to that house or those homes. It doesn't necessarily just have to be one house. So the appropriate legal structures for this type of model is obviously a cooperative society. You can also be a company limited by guarantee and work on sort of cooperative principles. So they're the really 2 options. So next up, we're going to talk about community land trusts. So community land trusts are usually set up to hold land and assets in community ownership. So the community act as stewards of the land and the asset. So it's not just about land. You can build homes on there, but you can also build other things on there as well. So for example, shops and employment opportunities. So there's an asset lock basically on the land that ensures that the homes remain affordable in perpetuity. So that means that the homes are affordable for the first people that buy those homes or rent those homes, but also for the next people to do so as well. And there are three main criteria for being a community land trust. So that is, you have to have open membership. So it's not necessarily a defined group of people, but more in a geographical sense. So it's benefiting the wider community. And they have to be not-for-profit organisations. So any surplus that you make will go back into the community. They can be ownership or rental models, and the key sort of legal structures that suit being a community land trust, because a community land trust isn't a legal structure in itself. So you could be a community benefit society, a community interest company, or a company limited by guarantee. So next up, we're going to talk about co-housing. So again, this isn't a legal structure in itself, it's more of a way of life and a way of living. So communities come together with a shared ethos and shared values and live in a particular way. So usually in a co-housing project, you'd have your individual homes, but you'd also have shared facilities then with your community. So for example, a communal kitchen, perhaps some laundry facilities or shared workspace. So you'd have all the things that you'd usually have in your home. So you'd have your kitchen and your bathroom and your living room and your bedrooms, but then you also get the additional extra then of having a shared communal facility. So they're usually designed to encourage interaction. So it's not like the typical estate that you think of where you build 6-foot fences in your garden. It's really designed so that people come together and live in a certain way. So the shared facilities are usually owned by the co-housing community or organisation, and then the individual ownership of the homes can vary depending on what model that you're developing essentially. The suitable legal structures for this type of model is a company limited by guarantee, a cooperative society, or sometimes even a community benefit society, depending on the aims of your organisation. So next up, we're going to talk about tenant management organisations. So tenant management organisations is when a group of tenants basically come together and actually manage some elements of their housing services on behalf of their landlord. So you come to an agreement with your landlord that you're going to manage some housing services. So for example, a lot of tenant management organisations like to manage things like lettings and estate management and maintenance. It gives them more power and control over the services that they're getting. So usually they'll procure better services essentially. So a tenant management organisation doesn't have to provide all of those services. So they could come to an agreement with their landlord just to manage a couple of key elements. And then the landlord retains the key sort of legal landlord and regulatory responsibilities. And a tenant management organisation could actually manage it themselves, or they could employ somebody else to manage it on their behalf if they felt they would get a better service elsewhere. So this is usually a rental model, and it usually works in housing association situations or with local authority housing, but it can also work with private landlords as well. And usually tenant management organisations are set up as company limited by guarantees, companies limited by guarantee, or cooperative societies. So finally, I just want to mention collective self-build really, really briefly. So it's quite self-explanatory. It's about communities coming together to actually build their own homes, whether that's through self-build, so building it yourself, or custom build. So you would work with a developer on a custom build project, and the developer would get it to a certain stage and then you'd finish it off, and similar with self-finish. Or One Planet development, which is a movement within Wales where you actually build your own eco home and you live off the land. So doing it this way, you can save development costs sort of associated with sewerage, drainage, roads and builders, because you can actually collectively procure those services. And I just wanted to mention it because it's quite a growing movement within Wales. So you've got the One Planet development, but you've also got the Self-Build Wales initiative from the Welsh Government. So that's working with local authorities to enable more self-build projects across Wales. So I just thought I'd mention it because there are some great opportunities out there at the minute. And these projects can be ownership or rental, and the legal structure varies. And with the collective self-build project, you could be sort of any of the models that I've previously discussed. So it's a really innovative way of delivering affordable housing, I think. So I'm just going to hand back to Paul now, and he's going to tell you a little bit about the Communities Creating Homes project.
Thank you, Casey. Yeah, so what can the Communities Creating Homes project do for you? We have got a bit of a fancy map, but I think you would probably struggle to read that. So I've got a very basic version of that. First of all, our job is to try and engage. We've got a 3E plan, basically. The first part is engage. It's about videos like this making you aware of the different models and the different ways of community-led housing. The next stage is that we've got, for those people which are interested in embarking on community-led housing, the DTA, our partner, will walk you through that process. So they will work with the groups to give you a bit of information about what Communities Creating Homes is, and you can actually apply for up to £2,500 grant per group to go on the explore stage, as we call it. So go on visits, etc., bring in people in to give you talks about it. The next part is the enable stage. That's when you come back to the Wales Cooperative Centre and the Communities Creating Homes team there, including myself, Casey, and some of our colleagues. And there we can, by that time, you should have decided on what model you want, and we'll help you set up as that model. So we can provide technical expertise, but we'll also give you training as well. So it's a matter of, I'll go on to the exact training a little bit later, but if there's anything like starting to your bookkeeping or how to engage with the community, how to work more effectively as a group, we can help you with all that. We also, we can offer some enterprise training, for example, how to advertise your scheme, how to, like I say, keep basic bookkeeping. At the end of the day, if you're managing a community-led housing scheme, you are kind of effectively managing a business. So we'll help you with that, those very early skills on how to do that. The next stage we got is expand. So hopefully on a natural route, somebody would come through that process, but anyone which is already an existing community-led housing scheme can still come to us. The expand stage is that once you've got to a point where you're happy, if you want to take that forward to be more sustainable, we'll also help you do that. And yet again, we can help you with sustainability strategies. It could be that your scheme wants to have a bit more of a business entrepreneurial edge to raise some funds. So we can help you with that. We can help you with training you how to do grants, helping you with fundraising strategies, etc. And we'll also try and get you working with other schemes so we can create a network so everyone can learn from each other rather than learning from us. We really want this to be a peer learning exercise. So the next stage then, which is the final stage, is to educate and influence. And that's our responsibility, really. Everything that we do with you all the way through this process, we are recording. So you may have a lot of questionnaires, and it's for this purpose. We want to learn from this process, and we want to fine tune it so that when we go back to people like Welsh Government and amazing funders like the foundation, Nationwide Foundation, we will have a model that can be more widely used. So yeah, and in the end, what we want is a thriving community creating housing sector in Wales. That's our ask. So there's a little bit of a summary there of the different processes. We've got the engage part, which is about raising awareness. We've got the explore part, about learning about the different opportunities and the models. We've got the enable part, which gets you up and running. We've got the expand, which takes you further on, and the educate and influence. And that's us, like I said, recording all this process so that we can do things better next time. Okay, what about the training? I'm involved in the training more than most people in the team. I don't want to get a pull off the shelf training and give it to you. I would rather come and meet you and then we'll find out what training you want and see how we can fit it to, it could be training on anything to do with group development. So we can look at the different models. We can look at your governance and how to get your foundations all ready and sound. We can help you with business development training. Again, the fundamentals for running a business, looking at your vision, your objectives, your bookkeeping. We can help you with promoting your group. We can help you with writing grant applications. We don't do it for you, but we can certainly give you training to enable you to do really good applications. And we can help you with fundraising and income generation. we work for the Wales Cooperative Centre, and both the Wales Cooperative Centre has got Social Business Wales, and the Development Trust Association have got Enterprise Solutions. We've both got expertise in helping social enterprises establish, so we've got a wealth of experience to help you on that support. We can also provide technical support, so we can bring in consultants. We may not have this technical knowledge ourselves, but it's something that we can look into about bringing in specialists in the field. But and all that, like I said, we're not going to basically pull something off the shelf. I will come out to you, we will have a chat, and we'll find out what training you want and what level you want it at. So we're not going to overwhelm you with anything. So that's our offer to you as well. So please get in touch with that. And that's it from us, really. The next thing is, please just get in touch if this is something that you're interested in. We've got a Twitter, we've got the email address. If you go to the email address, our website, sorry, you can download a pack, which will give you another brief introduction. We've got a Twitter account, a Facebook account. You can get involved. That we are trying to put together a cooperative charter at the moment for the housing sector in Wales. We try to hold quarterly network event meetings covering the whole of Wales. We've got a mailing list you can sign on to, and you can help us make a pledge. We're considering making a pledge towards everyone which is involved in communities created homes and the community-led housing movement. We want them to make a pledge to try and support that further. So if you want to get in touch with us, we've got that number there. But the best form of getting in touch with us, I believe at the moment, would be the email address, which is coop.housing@wales.coop. Look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.